Welcome to the Judgment Free Zone. You've downloaded the alcohol-free Marriage and More podcast with Matt and Amy, recorded live from the cornfields of Central Illinois. Welcome to episode number 87 for August 12th, 2024.
Well, hello there, children. Welcome back to your weekly freak show that is the Alcohol-Free Marriage and More podcast. I'm Matt, along with the always lovely Coach Amy. How are you, my love?
I'm good.
I couldn't think of any fun little
No,
quip this week.
I'm looking below because I was going to add something, but then I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, he didn't forget.
Well, I'm intrigued. What didn't I forget?
No, it's just it's on your your
notes.
bullet points that I'm not going to.
I'm usually very thorough, Amy, unless I'm not. Well, welcome back, children, to the podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with a friend, do all those cool things.
Yeah, you know what? And even if you don't watch us on YouTube, just go out there and
Just subscribe.
subscribe to it.
You know.
Leave.
Yeah.
Just
But it's really worth, I mean, this is worth watching on YouTube. I mean,
it truly is.
it's such a fulfilling
First
experience.
off, you're gonna see like what's Amy's hair look like this week?
And Matt's.
What is she doing?
See, if you watch YouTube,
Really?
you know why that's funny.
They probably know if they've seen.
If you've looked at the picture of
you
the
look at the
album
picture,
art right below your
the
screen.
album art, he is not doing a lot with his hair these days.
They say, not for these many days. Many, many days. Oh, children. But don't forget to go to joyontheotherside.com and download our Beyond Spirits, our 7 tips to start your alcohol-free journey. Or go to the links below, and you can also download our weekly marriage meeting guide.
Yes. Which, here's the thing. It's so cool how that works out for people. I've had,
What, downloading it?
well, using it. I've
Yes.
had some great response from people who are like, you know what? This is really helpful. It is so useful.
And simple. I think that's why it works.
And just, gentlemen, just so you know,
Go in with open mind.
you know, if you want, this is something that if you brought this to your wife, you'd probably be a hero.
Oh, yeah.
Because
You know it's simple and rewarding if I'm willing to do it because I'm the first one to be like, this is dumb.
no, but I've had a couple of people I know who listen, have downloaded it, and then I've been like, yeah, this is really good. We really enjoy using it. I just want to be completely transparent. We have much better weeks when we use it. And
True story.
This summer, we've been off. It's like we've kind of been on like almost an every other week with it.
Different things come up.
Just because of the
I think summer activities,
summer.
but we de-empty nested for the summer because our
And
daughter
now-
came home and now she's going back, so we can,
she nested back in. She
Yes.
settled in.
but she's going back out.
And
So.
she's this week is the unnesting.
The unnest.
We're pushing that little bird back out again,
back into the wild
into her
world.
little new apartment nest
There you go.
that will be incredibly
chic.
chic.
And bougie.
and it will be the cutest little
Oh, of course.
apartment ever.
Of course it will be.
So we're excited about that for her.
Yes. And if you want to order one of our Remember Tomorrow t-shirts, which I still have not ordered for Amy, there's a link down in the description below, too. You can download and order one of those.
Absolutely.
Amy, we have some birthday. We don't usually do birthdays around here.
I
but
know.
Who's on the birthday wishes today, Amy?
Well, today is our daughter's 20th birthday.
20 years, as she says, I'm old. It's all perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's so young. She's the big 2-0.
And then there's your grandma who,
My grandmother, we just celebrated her birthday. We had her celebration last weekend. 103.
now that is legit old.
103.
103. That is crazy.
I mean, it's just awesome. And she's still really mentally
there, yeah.
there. Physically, it's starting to wane. Which
she's still what's that? Crocheting,
she
knitting?
crochets. She still plays bingo. Does gets involved at the nursing home where she's at and everything. So
There you go, kids.
pretty cool.
Living that healthy. She was never a drinker, so there you go. I'm just
She
saying.
wasn't a smoker either.
She wasn't a smoker either. And you're talking about memory and people remembering things. And you've only been a non-drinker for 4 or 5 years now. But we were watching the Olympics. Hope you all were enjoying the Olympics. Lots of fun in the Olympics. The breakdancing is interesting. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
But we're watching, and one of these, I think a rower, his name was I don't remember where, but his name was Lucas, and Lukas, Lucas. I'm like, and our son's name's Lucas. We call him Luke, but Lucas is with a C, like George Lucas, and Luke is with a K, Luke. This was Lucas with a K, and I pipe up and I go, "Oh, we should have named Luke that." And without missing a beat, I mean, the words were no more out of my mouth. Amy goes, "I said we should do that." I'm like, I don't remember what I had for breakfast, and you remember a debate about our children's name from 24 years ago?
True story. I mean,
it's like she was waiting for me to say something in 24 years about it.
It was it was on point. It was like, I said that. I wanted to do that. It was so fresh. It was like almost like
it was like we just talked about yesterday.
My stomach, it just like right out at you. So I apologize for the guttural response that
she had that loaded in the chamber for 20 some years. But I'm like,
are you kidding me? That's what I said. No.
I suggested it to Luke. He said he probably would not do that.
I don't think no, you called him and said, we're changing your name.
So I know you're 24,
we're
almost
just going to
24
change
years old.
the spelling of your name, but I think he's good with it the way it is.
I guess we could change it. That wouldn't mean he'd change it. But
we're not changing anything.
But lots of fun in the Olympics.
You're so funny. He's like moving on. He's like,
I
am done with this conversation.
There's nothing to win here, kids.
Just, get into your marriage meeting.
There you go.
We might bring that up this week in our marriage meeting. I don't know.
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
I think it's water under the Olympic bridge.
Let's talk about the Olympics.
Love the rowing.
Which is wrapping up.
Today's Sunday when we're recording this, but
yeah.
Love the rowing. I loved everything synchronized, the swimming and the diving.
The gymnastics, of course.
Gymnastics were good.
We've watched some track and field.
I like learning about some sports I didn't know about because I'm like, oh, how do they even score? Like the shooting and the archery.
Archery.
Yeah.
So good.
Fun sports. Now, as you pointed out, archery and shooting, not the most cardio fitness maybe sports.
It's a skill.
It's a skill, but not the athleticism part of, they weren't more.
No, I think there's definitely, but
more dad bod. You can pull off a dad bod more doing that than you can run in the 1500 or flip flop around
or being hurled. Oh yes, and we forgot. Rugby.
Oh, rugby was good.
Rugby was good.
I learned about handball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'd never seen handball played before.
We also learned personally that we think there should be a skill. There should be some direct parameters on judging.
Yes.
Certain sports having certain skills.
A score. They have
score.
Some sort of.
Here are certain elements that you need to do within this. Like when we were watching, what was it? The artistic gymnastics, which is like they have a ribbon or a ball or
whatever. It's like
some kind of apparatus that they called them.
Like gymnastics meets the circus, but yeah.
It was great.
But yes, there are things you're supposed to
ribbon.
do. There's a scoring rubric, you could call it, I guess, and a difficulty level.
Like when they did the kayaking, they had to do certain elements.
Right.
It's like, they're coming up. They have to do the roll. Yeah. Then they have to go and do this reverse whatever.
And it's a race or it's timed, yes.
What sport did not require that?
Okay, let's put big air quotes around sport
because more air quotes.
We were I was kind of intrigued and excited to watch, but was very disappointed in, especially after Australia's performance in breakdancing.
Where there is
it's a Bob from Venice. They basically are break fighting. It's basically, have you seen?
Supposed to be like a throwdown.
Have you seen Break Into Electric Boogaloo? That's basically what it is.
Or it's like a dance fight.
Yeah, it's like a dance. Yes, it's like a 1980s dance fight. And the decision of who win, it's like, there's no real technical, there's no score. There's literally no score. It's like, I vote for there's like 8 or some judges, and they each vote for the person that they like.
Or who, clearly they were saying doing better and you could see who was doing better. But I still think there needs to be.
But not based on anything. There's no score. It's like, I vote for this person, you vote for that person. Whoever gets the most votes wins.
Let's be honest. I could be an Olympic breakdancer.
You could out breakdance Australia. I think we all can out breakdance Australia.
I'm sorry.
Mop the floor and
Mop the floor. I don't know. And I just feel like when you look at the other sports, what is required of the athletes, I think that needs to be incorporated into the sport.
I saw comments that sadly Australia will probably have ruined breakdancing for the Olympics and get it pulled because they did so poorly.
I honestly feel like it was a joke. I really feel like, hey, you know what? Wouldn't it be so funny if I tried to go to the Olympics as a break dancer? I could do.
And all of a sudden, here she is. Yeah.
Seriously, that's what I thought.
It was a little rough.
It was rough. But we watched it.
And they got these
and
MCs
it also makes me realize, like when you're watching, like like the diving.
Well, there's no play-by. I mean, there are play-by-play people, but they're not doing
play-by-play was a joke.
There was hardly any.
You needed to have the artistic gymnast gal who was doing that, or the synchronized swimming.
It was
commentator. I mean, I think she might have just like dropped the mic and left.
Yeah.
It was like, there's nothing here.
I'm not sure what to say nice about this, so I'm not going to say anything at all.
Now, I will say, though, in that sport, Japan, she was good.
She was good.
And I loved her attitude. I loved her whole look, her swagger, her hat, everything. It was really good. So,
well, and that's the funny thing. They say like the backstories are like, this person, like literally like they're from the streets, or this person was like the refugees and all this. And this lady from Australia, PhD. Like, one thing is not like the other. Speaking of one thing not being like the other, Coach Amy, what is your drink of the week?
Oh my gosh. So here's what's funny. I've had Groovy, the brand. It's a women-owned company.
They have beers,
They
wines.
have different beers. They have, what was it? The No Secco was like their Prosecco. But they have the dry Secco. And I'm like, let's get this.
And conveniently in a bottle.
I love servings.
It's in a single serving bottle, so you don't have to like open a big champagne bottle. Because usually, as we know, when you're not drinking, you're probably not going to drink an entire bottle of NA champagne. You might, can.
And it's 9.3 fluid ounces, 50 calories. So it is, in my opinion,
I haven't even tried it.
Here, let's put the whole thing in here, because this would probably be a true, as we used to call it, a true Edwards pour. Even though I've drank a little bit out of it. That probably would be
an actual, So it would have been about 10 ounces.
Yeah, which would have been pretty much almost 2 glasses.
Technically 2 servings. Yes.
So it's very good.
Found that at our local Fresh Market. Fresh Time, excuse me. Fresh Time, if you have one of those in your neighborhood.
Honestly, I love the fact that it is in individual servings, because that's one of the things that you find.
Gießen?
When you're alcohol free is like, oh my gosh, I can have just one.
You need smaller servings because
you're
not going to drink a whole bottle of wine.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not drinking a whole bottle of wine either, because I'm drinking a Brew Dog, which we haven't had around in a while. But Brew Dogs, I've never had this. They're Easy Street, which is just a golden, just kind of your generic kind of beer, I guess you could call it. I win the calorie count award this week, Amy. I win gold in that contest.
Do you win Olympic gold?
20 calories. I can measure it, actually. 20 calories.
You need to dismount. Nail it.
Don't knock it over, I guess, is my dismount. And speaking of not drinking and the downsides of actually drinking, Amy, you've talked about this before. I wanted to bring this up because there's been talk about how they've debunked the studies of alcohol, being good for you. There's another new study out. Study turns thumbs down on alcohol health benefits. Researchers are casting doubt or outright rejecting pretty much every study that suggests alcohol has health benefits. Meanwhile, deaths in the U.S. related to alcohol consumption are on the rise. And while experts say harm typically hinges on how much people drink, increasingly they are saying no safe amount of alcohol is safe, just like the World Health Organization says no level of alcohol consumption is safe for your health.
I know.
So there's lots of new studies that are saying, all these studies saying it's good for you or can have heart health benefits.
The heart health benefit, all of the benefits, there are none.
Well, any health benefits you can get from beer, I can get it from this
Yes.
NA beer right here.
And if you want resveratrol, which was the big thing that everybody wanted, you might as well either get a supplement for it to get it, because you have to drink, like, it's ridiculous.
Or you can drink NA wine. That's
It's-
the same thing. If
it's
you really just
hundreds.
care about the health benefit,
Yeah.
you could drink an NA wine.
Yes, but it's hundreds of bottles to get the actual benefits.
Like the old study said, apples can give you cancer, but you had to eat like 5 pounds of apples a day for like a year or something.
And you'd probably have to eat the seeds,
Probably.
because that's what's not good for you.
Apple seeds.
So yeah, apple seeds.
So anyway,
Oh,
kids, if you're living on the
Yeah.
on
So-
the world of, hey, the study say it's good
just
for my heart.
be informed. And yeah, I have another study on how the risks with cancer. I mean, it's so in your face now, and how it is also now they're tying it even to Alzheimer's and dementia, and we just have to. We just have to protect our brains. And now they're even saying it's like not, like, oh, when you start seeing the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's, it's really too late. Yeah, there's
Right.
some things that they can do, and I know I've read actually about some diets that you can do that will help slow it. But really, when you need to be doing this is in your 20s and 30s is when you
Right.
need, and that's people in their 20s and 30s. We weren't thinking about that
No.
at all.
No.
And I think that is such a disservice by our government that should be saying, hey, look at the epidemic now
Right.
that's happening.
Wish I had, but I didn't.
So,
But you have me working on my brain, Amy.
I do have you working on
You're
your
the
brain.
coach of many talents, alcohol. We're marriage coaches.
And now mental fitness. I
Mental-
went through
that- yeah.
the positive intelligence. There's a book called Positive Intelligence, and it's by Shirzad Shamin. And he developed this by taking the different methodologies and wrapping them all together. I'm not going to even go into all of that, but he does have scientific white papers that it's all evidence based on how doing mental fitness and doing positive intelligent quotient exercises, that's where the PQ comes from, how this can actually strengthen your mental muscles and get you into what I would say a sage. I'm going to put up the little air quotes, even though being in your sage is your inner knowing, being more at peace with yourself instead of living in this saboteur state or judge state where you're constantly, your mental thoughts are beating you up. We have so many negative thoughts that come into our brain. I mean, we have over, I think anywhere they've said 30,000 to 80,000 thoughts that come into your brain that you have every day. The majority of those are negative. And this is a way that you can turn that and strengthen those mental muscles so that when those negative thoughts come up, you can say, oh, okay, that's a negative thought. I need to capture it and stop it and make a turnaround and do something different and get myself in the right mode. Do some mental fitness exercises, which is breathing, getting you in touch with your senses, I think is probably the best way to describe that. Would you say going through this now, you're on
This starts week 4, I think.
It starts week 4.
Yeah, I'm the first one. I mean, I'm not buying or selling. I'm the first one who will tell Amy, this is dumb, or, why are you doing this? Or I did it and I didn't like it. Like, she uses me as a guinea pig. Let's put it that way.
You saw me. Well, and I already have taken some people. I've taken people through
I would
this.
see her do this like finger thing. I'm like, what is this? Like, woo? Like, it seemed a little different, but I'm like, I'm always willing to try something new. Why not? Let's see.
And I said, you know what? I've been talking about having you go through this for a year.
Yeah.
Almost, a year. And I said, come on, you know what? You just need to go through it. I'm not going to sit here.
I think to quote you, you said, I'm signing you up.
No. Okay, yes. But after you saying to me, Amy, you've been saying you're going to sign me up
when am I doing this?
forever. And in my defense, we were going through the marriage training and everything.
yeah.
And I also know that if I throw another thing at you, you're going to be like, I'm not doing this.
Right.
So This seemed to be
you have to wait for the horse to start drinking before you give him the water.
I just thought that this seemed to be a good time. I'm like, you know what? I've got 3 clients who are going to be going through it, and I want to, you know what? It'll just be easy. Because I'll be taking them through. I can kind of talk to you about it. However, guess what happened?
Well, wait. I go in all these things a little bit with a skeptical mind. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. We'll do, I do it while you're supposed to.
Yes.
And I follow the process. But even after maybe even a couple of weeks, I'm like, I'm actually really seeing a difference.
Yes. And let's go back to last fall when I was going through it. And I was pretty much almost, I think, through the program or halfway through the program. And technology is not my strong suit. We all know that. If you've listened to this show at all, if you've listened to my path when we used to.
Have you ever been on a Zoom call with Amy?
Yeah,
You know.
I do my best, and I really do. I do know how to do things. But when something goes wrong, I usually have a kind of, in the past, have a little meltdown. I'm upset about this. I can't do this. I'll try because my personality type is to, all right, you can do this. There's no reason you can't do this. So, that whole power through.
Right.
And it doesn't work because the more you push, then you have all those negative thoughts coming up. Right. You're dumb. Why can't you do this? Anyways. Last fall, I was going through, I had a project that I needed to put together. I'm working through it because I had to set up a landing page. Long story short, I finish it up. I ask you to do the one thing that I needed help with. And you had this look on my face and on your face. And I think you said something to the fact like, what just happened here?
Like you didn't just lose your ever-loving mind.
And you were so affirmative and supportive. You're like, I don't know what you're doing, like what it's all about. But whatever it is,
do more of that.
It's working. It's working because you get into a point where all of a sudden you start living in this calmer place. You start,
I like that it's all in the app. It walks you through. You have little check-ins throughout the day. So even if you don't remember do the extra, you at least do that much, and you learn about. And I like it because
it's habit formation too.
But I also like it because it's sort of like our marriage coaches training, where you identify what you are with a goal of becoming something. So like you're a people pleaser, you're an avoider, you're whatever you are to be a secure connector. This is the same thing. Like my judge is this, and what are those bad things?
Okay, well,
I'm trying to become more sage-like. I'm trying to, you're not just like these other tests say, well, you're this and you live that way. No, it's like address those things that cause the problems and the challenges in your thinking.
So I'm just going to read what the foundation program is, because this mental fitness is for life. This is just what you're taking is just kind of a foundations to get you really aware of it. And then after you're aware of it, then it can be applied in all different areas of your life. It can be applied in improving your relationships. It can be, improving work performance. It can be in I want to quit or enhance a particular habit.
It helped my procrastination a ton already.
It really has. And it helps me too. And you can kind of look at whatever your saboteurs are, because there's one judge, and these are your negative thoughts and sabotaging thoughts. But there's 9 saboteurs. There's the victim, the hypervigilant, the pleaser, the avoider.
The restless.
I'm
restless, avoider, and a pleaser.
And I am a pleaser, avoider, hypervigilant. And now with this being said, the one thing I do also like about positive intelligence is if you took the assessment, but you're like, you know what, I don't really feel like that fits for me, then don't do it.
Because I had 2 that tied. And I'm like, I don't think, and even you're like, I don't really think so. So I picked the other one of the tie because it made more sense.
And so you want to just see, and it's also moving you out of self-sabotage and moving you into being a more, and when we say sage, being in that inner knowing, doing things that are better for you and not avoiding things, not avoiding conflict.
And I love that's in 2 to 5 minute like chunks.
Yeah.
So it's because I'm always one like, oh, like it's a half hour or whatever.
So yeah,
you know.
just to describe the program, the way it works when you're looking at your mental fitness, you've got the judge and its friends, the saboteurs. And then what you want to do is you want to get yourself out of those modes. You want to capture those thoughts, and you want to move them into your sage perspective and your more inner knowing and the 5 sage powers. And so the sage powers are explore, empathize, navigating, innovating, and then finally activating. So
that must be this week. I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yes, you are right there. And this is and for you, this is the fun part. It's like where it's like, oh, here I am. All right, I'm capturing these thoughts. I'm saying, oh, this is where it is. It's also about celebrating, because whenever you catch that judge, and the judge is your critical thinking. Think of it as your, like I often say, my inner negative Nelly. She's right there. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. It's like, oh, wait. Oh, you know what? I see you. I see what's going on. And the saboteurs, they are there and they helped you get through childhood. And when I say get through childhood, it helped you navigate childhood. Right. It helped you work with other personalities. It helped you formulate how you were going to survive.
Right.
And ultimately, it did all of this by the time you were 5. So a lot of times when you have these negative thoughts and stuff that come up in you, all of a sudden you are transported back to being a 5-year-old when you're interacting with somebody. And to catch those thoughts and say, okay, no. My older, wiser self is saying, no, that's not the way we handle ourselves. So I don't know if I'm explaining this
I don't well enough. Because like so like I'll use my avoider. I have the avoider. So the avoider, oh, well, that's not going to be fun, or that's going to be painful. So I procrastinated and don't do it. But then the judge says, oh, well, look, you aren't doing this. You're bad because you aren't getting it done. You need to do it. The avoider says, well, just don't do it. And then it says vicious cycle versus, doing some PQ reps and getting in touch with your sage. I'm not the coach, but from my perspective, and thinking it more holistically. I mean, like, hold on, like, what's a more calmer path, and what's it really, and it really lowers your anxiety too.
Yes, and so as an avoider, you have a task you don't want to do. So an example would be, I don't want to work on doing a social media post, and so what my avoider will make me go is, oh, you know what, you don't have to really do that. It's not a big deal. Let's just not do that. Or a project, I don't have to do that yet.
Or quit drinking. I don't do that yet.
I don't have to do that. I can do that Monday. You know what? It's okay. You want to avoid it.
Yeah. It's gonna be painful.
It's going to be painful.
Quote, not painful.
So what the sage asks you to do is, so just stop avoiding for 1 minute. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to that project right now. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to map out a few steps. I'm going to take, make a game of it. I'm going to spend 5 minutes just trying to see what's going to happen here.
Right.
Let's map this out. Then once you do that 5 minutes, you need to celebrate it. Like, oh my gosh, I actually didn't avoid this. I'm working on the project. This is great. I'm moving forward. And then evaluate. Do you want to put it away and go back to avoiding? Because you can always do that.
Right.
But what happens most of the time, because you celebrate, you're like, oh my gosh, this really isn't that bad. I can move forward with this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work a little bit more on this project. An example, I'm going to be in a recovery summit coming up, Blessed Families Recovery. I probably don't have it exactly correct, but that's coming up in October. I've been asked to be a part of that. I'm really excited. They're like, okay, this is for families. And do you have anything that you would like to, do as a giveaway? And I'm like, we have the God tools that we have in our marriage coaching. And she's like, oh, that would be great. But, they have to really be for the families, though. Yeah. The families, not so much the person who is struggling, because it's not just alcohol. It's any substance, pornography, different different things that people, gaming. I mean, there's so many different things. And so what I did was I'm like, all right, you really need to do this. So I just like, all right, let's just map it out. Let's do an outline. I did the outline. I started to work on it and I did it. And it was done in, I think probably total time over 2 days was 2 hours, maybe 3 hours.
That's everything. Half the time it's not.
It doesn't
never
take
as bad as you think it
So
is.
you know what? I celebrated it. Oh my gosh, I have it done. I went ahead. Then the next step is you need to lay it out. Well, guess what? I avoided it. And so then I'm like, you did this the last time. You can build on it. You can say, okay, remember, I avoided putting that together. It really didn't take that long. I bet it won't take you that long. You already have in Canva probably some things that you can do to put this together.
Right.
I, again, probably got it done. And I mean, it needs some little bit of fine tuning, but it's basically done now.
There you go.
And so that's just an example of just taking these small steps. And it's really, when we're in avoider mode, we're pushing. Oh, if only I had better discipline. If only I did this. That's a push. That's pushing yourself.
Right.
This method of saying, oh, if I just do one step,
I'm moving
just
a little closer.
It's a pull. It's like, okay, just do this. Hey, come with me on this.
Right.
It's more of a, and pulling.
Or what if you try it? Maybe it's not as bad as you think.
Exactly.
So, Amy, help me out a little bit because I'm married to my coach, as you know. So I don't really know verbatim, but I was reading a little paragraph here. What do you as a coach guide me through in this 6-week program?
Okay. Anyone can do the program. You can go to positiveintelligence.com. It's $1,000 program. I always like people letting them know that. If you come and you coach with me and what I do with you is you actually get the program and you get one-on-one coaching with it. So I literally will take you through the program.
Which is helpful. Even though I'm married to her, it is helpful.
And it's funny because you're getting, and I feel kind of bad about this, you're getting so much less than most of my clients get.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to tell you about that.
Which is because what you do is you have a pod. So you get, and usually it's great if you can to do this with somebody else. It really is. And have a couple of people. If you don't, that's okay too, because I'm working with somebody individually. So her and I are a pod. So what you do is every Saturday, the modules come out. And so you're going to work on different areas. Like the first week is self-command. You're going to learn on like capturing like that thought, like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so you have that weekend or 3 days to do a 1 hour module on self-command. There's, like I said, there's others and we can list that out. And if anybody's interested, I have an outline that you can see all of this information. But so you do that. Then you meet with your pod, which would include me as your coach and a couple other people. And then we go over what you have learned in the pod, how you can apply it, what you learned the current week and the past week, like what's coming up, how you're going to do this, which can be really helpful because you can talk about different scenarios.
Right.
And then Tuesday through Friday, you get a daily focus followed with, what do we call those? Coach challenges. Coach challenges. And here's the thing. The great thing about a great program and being affiliated with a great organization is they're always wanting to do updates. I'm participating in the updated version, which is going to even be
different and better.
It's just going to be
just tweaked.
It's tweaked.
Yeah.
It's tweaked. Yeah. It's just making that client experience just a little bit more. So then you go through those coaching challenges. And so each day you're spending like 12 to 15 minutes on mental fitness, and you get an app with that. Plus you have when you're working with a coach, you have a daily check-in. We check in with each other. How's it going? How's your practice going? What's working?
If you have a coach, my coach is not always so good about doing that with me, but that's I think that's more of a marriage issue than a coach issue.
That's not true. I'm asking you about it, but I'm not sitting there and texting you and working through things like, oh, I found my judge. My judge brought this up. Oh, well, but so there's things like that. And working with me, I really try to also add in like, okay, what is one of the struggles that you're dealing with right now? And it can be so many different things, but working on getting this operating system put together in these, first 6-7 weeks is something that it's just, again, it's a foundations program. It gets you set up. I've been doing this for a year. I still do the exercises pretty much every day. I always do my daily focus in the morning, do PQ reps throughout the day. And when I say throughout the day, typically for me, it's at points of the day that make sense. Lunch.
Right.
When I'm coming home from work or ending the workday. Do a few, because it also helps with a demarcation on when I'm going to do something
Transitioning
new.
your day.
Yep. So,
and PQ reps are like,
we can even do a few.
well, they're kind of like, not yoga, but it's like, it focuses your mind. And the cool thing is there's some that you can do like sitting down when you're relaxed. There's some you can do with like if you're driving or walking. So they're all not based on like, you have to be sitting perfectly still. Like you can be.
And clear your mind. It's nothing like that, because your mind, intrusive thoughts are going to be there. And there's a lot of people there. That's one of the questions people come up. Well, isn't this like meditation? Yes and no. Meditation prayer is a form, would be like a PQ rep,
right,
because you're centering yourself
right
on something other, and so, but the difference is, and there's been different practitioners who have been in who've been in PQ, who are actually PQ coaches, that didn't have the transformation in their lives from meditation until they incorporated in positive intelligence,
right,
because you're incorporating it throughout your day so that you can have that self-command that, oh my gosh, that negative thought just came up. And instead of it taking you down into a ruminating spiral, you can stop it and go,
so awareness of the thought and then a corrective action to recenter yourself.
Exactly. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to do a couple PQ reps. That's why Matt even made a gesture of me rubbing my 2 fingers together. That seems to be one of my go-tos.
That one, yeah, and then you rub
or you can rub your hands together. So I can just do a couple just to show. Okay,
this might be where you want to be on YouTube, because
you can either, or no, you can just listen, because when I'm with
that's true, because the audio is Shirzad is just audio, it's not a video.
And most of the time there are moving PQ reps, so you can look at somebody, like if you're in a scenario and you feel like maybe you're in a meeting and you feel like, oh my gosh, this person is starting to set me off. You can do visual PQ reps. So you can look at a person and you go, oh, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the color of their eyes. You can do this all inside. You're not saying this out loud, but you can look at somebody's like, oh, look at their eyes. Oh, look, they have, look at their hands. Look at, different things that you can focus on. And these are not like, I'm only focusing on this and staring at this person like this. No, they're talking, you're engaged.
Right.
But it's a way that you can take that negativity and stop it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Matt? Okay.
Yes, it does, Amy. Thank you.
I'm just asking you that. So, if we were
there's the breathing ones.
There's breathing there, but most of them, except for the moving,
right,
you close your eyes if you can.
Yeah.
I do a lot of these with my eyes open, even though it's like, because it's like, okay, I'm at work and it's going to look really weird if Amy's in there
with her eyes closed. Because I do like the one that you have your eyes closed and you start with the
rubbing
your fingers and feeling the.
All right. So everybody, we're just going to take a moment. Okay. We're going to do a few PQ reps.
If you're driving, use your own discretion, please.
And if you're driving, keep your eyes open and you can just kind of follow along. So I'm going to ask you, and this is what I typically do with clients. I ask them to turn their cameras off so that it doesn't
our camera will remain
feel
on,
weird, but we're going to keep it on. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, Matt.
Okay. I'm going
to close my eyes.
Okay.
And I'm going to invite you now to transition to doing some PQ reps. I want you to shift all of your attention from your busy thoughts and to begin to focus on the sensations in your body. I want you to feel the weight of your body on your seat. I want to have you now have your feet flat on the floor and feel those sensations and the weight on your feet. Feel all the pressure points. Wiggle your toes. And if you have a thought that's coming in, just recognize it and say, hey, I'm going to center back in on the sensations in my body. I'm going to ask you now to take a deep breath in and then an exhale and another. And now we're going to go ahead and just have you normalize your breathing. Go back to a normal pattern of breath. And those thoughts come up, just recognize them and come back to your breath. And then I want you to feel the rise and fall of your chest with each breath. Feel the temperature of the air as it enters your nostrils and the temperature as it exits your nostrils. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to focus on touch. And I want to have you go ahead and rub 2 fingers together with such attention to detail that you're going to feel all the ridges on those 2 fingertips. Now I'm going to have you take your hands and rub the fingers of one hand against the fingertips and the palm of the other hand. And just notice the temperature of your skin. Notice the ridges, the indentations. And now I'm just going to redirect us back to your breath. And just feel all those sensations inside your nostrils with each inhale and exhale. Now you may open your eyes. So what do you think, Matt?
I've never put a podcast audience to sleep before.
Do you feel relaxed?
I do.
It's a really good. I start all of my coaching calls with this process.
My thoughts did wander a little bit because I wandered to, this room gets hot from these studio lights. Maybe I need to really go to LEDs because this is hot.
You know what? When I was rubbing my hands, I'm like, wow, I'm really sweaty.
It's not hot here today.
No, it is a beautiful day.
So that's an example of how your mind does wander when you're doing it.
It does wander. It's completely normal. I also, part of my coaching is that Christian perspective. And this is a secular program, but I do for clients who, obviously, if I'm a Christian, that is my background with coaching.
Right.
But I do incorporate in prayer, meditation, if that is something that the client wants. And most of my clients, that is what they want. And that's who I work with primarily is women of faith. So,
but you don't have to.
No, and I am.
You can incorporate whatever your faith is. Whatever faith is your jam.
I don't know.
Well, you can incorporate it into it. Yeah.
Well, into positive intelligence,
Yes.
you most definitely can do that.
Exactly. All right. Well, there you go, kids. I hope you're waking back up now. If you're interested in the Positive Intelligence Program, email Amy at joyontheotherside.com or drop a comment down below, and she will reach out and
I would love to
have you touch your fingers.
Rub your fingers together.
And breathe. All right, kids. Well, that's it for us for this week on the Red Boy Podcast. Ooh, that's been a minute. On the Alcohol-Free Marriage and More Podcast.
Big minute.
I was going to say, now it's archived a little bit. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm Matt along with Coach Jamie, wishing you peace and love in the cornfields. We are out.